Okay. So, good evening, students. Welcome to the last day of our CA Foundation Marathon class. So, in today's class, we shall be discussing about the chapter 9, that is international trade. So, by today, we will be completing with our entire syllabus part, that is a revision of all the chapters in the micro as well as macro. So, let us get started. So, there are total 5 units in the chapter 9. So out of that 5, 2 and 4 is slightly bigger. 1, 3 and 5 is a smallest units. So unit number 1 speaks about theories of international trade. So first and foremost, we need to understand what do you mean by international trade. So international trade is not just exchange of goods and services. Along with goods and services, it is also an exchange of resources between the countries. So we consider it as it is much more complex than what we do in an internal trade. So international trade is not just exchange of goods and services. That is also an exchange of resources. And whenever we conduct an international trade, that involves greater complexities, multiple nations' currencies are involved, shipping business is involved, multiple documentation procedure is involved, multiple legal environment is involved, tariff that refers to taxes, visible measures are involved, non-tariff measures, that is other barriers, quota means quantity restrictions are involved. So because of all these multiple elements, international trade becomes much more complicated than domestic trade. And international trade is just an extension of a domestic trade. What we do inside the country, same we are doing outside the country, but more complications will come into picture. And international trade should always be mutually beneficial. That means it should not be a zero-sum game, which is not a zero-sum game. So it should not be a zero-sum game. That means it should be beneficial for both the nations who are involving in an international trade. So there are mainly 5 theories of international trade. The very first theory is a theory of mercantile view. Second one is theory of absolute advantage. Third one is theory of comparative advantage. Fourth one is HO theory, Eksha and Olin theory. Fifth one is new trade theory. So all these 5 theories are important. From any particular theory, the questions can come. Yeah, this unit is also important. 1 or 2 questions will come usually. See, in this entire units now, 2 and 4 is little bigger one. 2, 4 and 5 are the most important from exam perspective. And RTA unit 3, that one similar questions will come, easy questions will come over there. I will discuss about it. So the very first one, theory of mercantile view. What exactly is this theory of mercantile view? That means a nation will always and always try to only and only export. We don't want to import at all. We should impose a barriers on import. We have to only and only export goods and services. That is what we say. See, they say it is a zero-sum game, but international trade should not be a zero-sum game. But here it is a zero-sum game. One country will give, another country will gain. See, they say a country should export more and more. They should only export in order to earn specie, that is precious metals. Earlier days, we used to trade with gold and silver. And we should not import. We should impose barriers to import. So, we are going to get more and more tariff whenever, let me say, for example, we export more rather than importing. See, this is mercantile view. A mercantile view always says that we should only and only export more. We should not at all import. So we have to impose barriers on imports. We should only and only export. That is mercantile view. But the very first economist who said international trade should be a mutually beneficial, it cannot be like the zero-sum game, as Adam Smith, the father of economics, he said, international trade is not a zero-sum game. That means it should be mutually beneficial. Mutually beneficial trade. So how, for example, now between two countries, let's say we have to take a comparison. Now let's take a comparison. India and USA between rice and wheat. Now I'm considering labor hours here. Lesser the labor hours is always a better. Now let's say USA to produce rice, let's say to produce 1 unit of rice, they are taking 10 labor hours. But India is taking 2 labor hours. So who is better? India is better. In terms of wheat productivity, USA is taking 5 labor hours, but India is taking 20 labor hours. Who is better? USA is better. So India is better with rice productivity. USA is better with wheat productivity. So mutually benefiting trade is possible. Whichever country can produce at absolutely lower labor cost, that nation is better. So in this case, India is better with production of rice. See, India should produce only rice. USA should produce only wheat. We find India has an absolute advantage in rice productivity. USA has an absolute advantage in wheat productivity. So this was the theory which was given by Adam Smith, called as theory of absolute advantage. See, there should be unrestricted trade and free international competition. Absolute cost advantage is determined by mutually benefiting international trade. The absolute cost advantage theory points out that country will specialize in the production as well as in the export of the commodity in which they have an absolute cost advantage. In whichever country they can produce at a lower production cost in terms of a labor productivity, labor hours, they are better. In other words, exchanging a goods between these two nations will take place only if at least one out of these two country can produce a commodity at an absolutely lower production cost than another country. Then mutually benefiting trade is possible. In our example, India has a benefit in rice productivity, USA has a benefit in wheat productivity. Sir, I just completed your May 26 marathon. Is it enough to September? Yes, that was little bit brief with exam questions. Yeah, that should be sufficient. Same thing now from exam perspective, exam oriented, we are doing here in the recent September marathon year. Okay, now what if, sir, one country is only specialized in production of both the commodity? Like you said here, na, India was good in rice, USA was good in wheat. What if one nation is only good in production of both? Now observe. India is only good in production of rice as well as wheat comparing to USA. Now, how come mutually benefiting trade is possible? So in such a case, still mutually benefiting trade is possible. We should take out a ratio here. If I take out ratio, can I say this is 5:1? This is 4:1. No doubt India has advantage in both the productivity. India has greater advantage in rice, also an advantage, lesser advantage in wheat. Comparing between rice and wheat, ratio is higher in rice, ratio is lower in wheat. So India has a comparative advantage with rice now. See, that means I have advantage with both. India is having advantage in rice productivity as well as wheat productivity. In both they have an advantage. More advantage in rice, less advantage in wheat. That is what I call more advantage as comparative advantage. So India, you select rice, you forego wheat. Let USA produce wheat in order to have this mutually benefiting trade or good international interrelationship. So why you should only produce both? And moreover, human wants are unlimited, but nations' resources are limited. You can't produce each and everything that you are desiring to have. So India, you select what you are really good at. Greater advantage at rice. You also have an advantage but lesser advantage in wheat. If I compare the same with USA, USA has disadvantage in both. Lesser disadvantage in wheat, greater disadvantage in rice. So disadvantage country will select lesser disadvantage, advantage country will select greater advantage. Like this, still mutually benefiting trade is possible, and this concept is introduced by David Ricardo. He spoke about comparative advantage. That means in terms of absolute advantage of Adam Smith, greater advantage, lesser advantage, or greater disadvantage, lesser disadvantage. That is explained by David Ricardo. In the given case, India is having an advantage in both, but greater advantage with rice, lesser advantage with wheat. But USA has disadvantage in both, lesser disadvantage in wheat, greater disadvantage in rice. Same thing Heberler explained with the concept of opportunity cost. Identify opportunity cost inside the country and then compare it between the countries. Whichever has a lesser opportunity cost, that country is better. So that was also explained by Heberler, same concept. So this was the first three theory. First one, mercantile view. We should only and only export. We should not at all import. The second one, theory of absolute advantage given by Adam Smith. Whichever nation can produce at a lesser production cost comparing with the another country, they can produce and exchange it between the nation. What if one country is only specialized in production of both? In such a case, we should consider who is better in, let me say, in advantage country, both the advantages, greater advantage will be selected, lesser disadvantage will be selected between the comparative nation. Next comes H-O theory, Ekshaw and Olin theory, also called as modern theory of trade or factor endowment theory. In this H-O theory, we don't just consider labor. Along with labor, we also consider capital now. We consider both labor as well as capital. In the previous two theory, we were only considering labor. There are total two steps in this particular theory. First and foremost, production mobility happen. Later, factor mobility happens. Let's take India and USA as an example. India is a labor rich country. USA is a capital rich country. So India should produce labor intensive goods which they can produce at an absolutely cheaper cost comparing to USA in terms of labor. And we should export that to USA. USA will produce capital intensive good and they will export that to India. So this is how the trade activities will be happening between the countries. But now in case of factor mobility, we don't produce goods and services and we will send. Rather we will send our factors of production only. In step number 1, we used to produce the goods and we used to send the goods or services. In step number 2, we don't produce and send the goods. Rather, we send our factors of production only. In USA, labor was expensive. Since from India we sent labor, labor price will be reduced. In India, capital was not available. Interest rates were high in the bank loan. USA will come and invest in India. Automatically, interest rates will fall down. So in both the country, prices of factors will become equalized. So it is also called as factor price equalization theorem. So this is HO theory. We don't just consider labor. Along with labor, we also consider capital. And the fifth theory, globalization theory or new trade theory. Same product is exported as well as same product is imported. Sir, why are they mad enough? Same product is exported as well as imported. There are two reasons. One, we have produced at economies of scale. Large scale production we have made. Each and everything we are unable to sell inside our country. So we are also selling outside the country. And because of a popularity, I need Adidas shoes only, Puma shoes only, Nike shoes only. Because of its popularity, Onitsuka Tiger from Japan, we are importing. In India also we are manufacturing shoes, but still we are importing the shoes. So because of its popularity, bandwagon effect or network effect, same product is exported as well as same product is imported. So economies of scale and the network effect. So in globalization theory is an extension of HO theory. Same commodity is exported as well as same commodity is imported. So these are the 5 theories of international trade. The very first theory is mercantile view. The second theory is absolute advantage. Third one is comparative advantage. Fourth one is HO theory. Fifth one is new trade theory. Along with that, Paul Krugman has extended the same HO theory and he said there is no rule that only between capital country to labor country this exchange of HO should happen. Now by and large, capital to capital country, labor to labor countries only it is happening. For which in 2008 he identified the trade patterns of international trade and he got a Nobel Prize. Next, advantages and disadvantages. Just a generic topic here. Read only concept. Still, you may get a question from these areas. Advantages and disadvantages. So by this, unit 1 comes to an end. Unit 1 doesn't have much things over there. Very simple unit it is. Sir, you seem a little down with your energy. Is the whole class absent? Yes, I asked them to attend in online only. Because just for 2 hours, they also want to travel. That's the reason. Yep. Some people are saying September attempt will be tougher. What's your opinion, sir? It doesn't matter, tough or easy. Economics paper can never be tough. That I can say. Economics paper will usually be easy if you have studied well, Allah. If you know the concept, definitely you can easily crack. Bare minimum in economics is 60 to 80. That is like average. That is bare minimum average it is. 60 to 80. De-reserving meaning. That is for small scale industries. In 1960s and 70s, they specifically reserved certain set of items for production. Later, they de-reserved it. That is called de-reserving. In 1991 and later, they de-reserved it. Okay, chalo, let's go to the unit number 2. So, unit number 2 speaks about instruments of trade policy. That means now when we are conducting an international trade, what are all the policies of international trade? Like what we allow for exports, what we don't allow for exports. When we are dealing with WTO members, what are the rules and regulation? When we are dealing with SARS nations, what is the rules and regulation? Bilateral and multilateral approach of trade. And what all we allow, what all we don't allow for exports, and what all we allow for imports, and what all we don't allow, what all customs duty we charge. In short, rules and regulations of export and import is what we are going to study in this instruments of trade policies. Clear? So trade policies, those policies which are designed and implemented by a country in order to regulate an international trade. So policies related to export and import, what we do and what we don't do, and approaches of dealing with bilateral agreements and multilateral agreements. In this whole chapter, the main concepts are tariff measure, non-tariff measure, export related measures. These are the three measures. Tariff means taxes, visible measure. Non-tariff means rules and regulation, invisible measure. And export related measures. In that, the very first one, tariff measure, visible measure. There are 15 types of tariff. From this 15 types, anywhere the question can come, and all 15 are easy. And usually I will start with first one, bounded and applied. Later I will come to tariff as a response to trade distortion. Bounded tariff, what is that? Between WTO members, there are 164 WTO members. We have agreed, boss, this is the tariff that we are going to charge between each other. We are not going to charge beyond that. Once we are bound, once we have agreed, the tariff rate becomes permanent. That is a legal commitment not to raise it above the certain level between the WTO members. Sir, what if we have to raise? We have to sit, we have to negotiate with them. After negotiating, we have to compensate. See, after negotiating, we have to compensate with our trading partner for their possible losses, and then we have to increase the tariff rate. Sir, what if, sir, we have agreed to charge 10%? We will charge less than 10%. Is that okay? Yes. Charging less is never a trouble. If you charge lesser than what you have agreed, that is what we call applied tariff. But you can never go beyond what you have agreed. So bounded, once you are bound, the tariff becomes permanent. So between WTO members, that is called bounded tariff. And next comes applied if you charge lesser than what you have agreed, bounded. That is called applied tariff. Now, but sometimes some countries, maybe like China, they are producing at economies of scale. They are unable to sell everything in their country. They will be dumping, like a dustbin, they will be dumping to nearby countries intentionally at a lesser price. So at that point of time, the Indian government will stop that activity by imposing extra taxes over and above bounded tariff. See, legally what we are supposed to charge is only bounded tariff. But a country like China, if they start dumping their excessive produced goods and services in India, then to stop such disturbance happening in our country for the trade activity, Indian government may charge an additional taxes that is called anti-dumping duty over and above bounded tariff. When some countries like China dump their excessive produced and try to sell it at lesser than their average cost. So it creates an unfair advantage to them. My domestic players cannot compete with them. One fine day, my domestic people will close down. Later, China will increase the price. To stop this from happening, Indian government may charge anti-dumping duty. Same way, sometimes India does this to Bangladesh. When Indian government gives a subsidy to our own exporters, textile exporters. So because a cost of production goes down when government gives a subsidy, our own exporters, they are unable to sell everything inside India. They will dump it to nearby countries. We are also dumping. For that, government is giving subsidy. In such a case, the receiving nation, let's assume Bangladesh. Bangladesh government will get to know, okay, boss, Indian government is giving subsidy to their textile exporters, because of which they are unable to sell everything. So whatever left out goods are there now, and moreover, their cost of production has decreased because of subsidy component. They are dumping into Bangladeshi government. So whichever textile comes from India to Bangladesh, now Bangladeshi government imposes a over and above bounded tariff that is called as countervailing duty because of subsidy element. Without subsidy element, just a dumping activity, anti-dumping duty. With the subsidy element, countervailing duty. And WTO allows both anti-dumping duty and countervailing duty. Both is approved even if it is beyond bounded tariff, and only under the dumping. Only to stop the dumping activity, WTO guidelines will allow. So this is one of the important parameter. Clear? And specific tariff. It's a fixed monetary tax. Kindly remember these keywords. On every single unit, what is a fixed tax? And same way, fixed percentage, constant percentage is ad valorem. Fixed monetary value is specific. Mixed tariff, you just need to remember this word or. That means we'll calculate both. Specific or we will calculate ad valorem. Whichever brings more revenue to the government, that is called as mixed tariff. Sir, what if we charge both like the name? That is called compounded tariff. It's not or, now it will become and. See, we are going to charge both A or B. A or B is mixed tariff. A and B is a compounded tariff. Same way, variable tariff. Suppose sometimes you will say to your friend now, one who is going to Dubai, US and all, say their iPhone is priced less. Get me one iPhone from there. Suppose Indian government decides, okay, how much is less? In India, it is 1,50,000. In Dubai, 1,20,000. Difference is 30,000. Nah, shut and pay that as a tax. That is called variable tariff. To make the domestic price and foreign price as equal. Suppose if foreign prices are lesser than domestic goods price. That is called variable tariff. Escalated tariff. If you are importing raw materials, lower tariff. If you are importing finished good, higher tariff. Next, MFN tariff. Between WTO members, whatever we have agreed, bounded. Non-WTO members higher than what bounded is there. So that is called MFN. Between WTO agreed, between non-WTO member, higher tariff. Next comes preferential tariff. Nearby countries will form their own small friendship group, and between themselves they will charge much more lesser taxes. That nearby countries need not be WTO members. They may be or may not be. Nearby countries, let's assume tomorrow India will create this preferential tariff with, let's say, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Myanmar, Nepal, and between ourselves we will create a lesser taxes. That is called preferential. Nearby countries. What is it? Nearby countries. Best example is NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement between Canada, Mexico, USA, European Union region, ASEAN, SARS, GSP. Next comes technical tariff. Different spare part, different component, different taxes. Remember this keyword, specific contents. Suppose I'm importing a solar module or solar cells. Solar cell different tax, on a battery every kg extra tax, like this plus C plus. Additional tax, different spare part, different tax. Tariff rate quota. See, in this, tax is also there, quantity restriction is also there. Up to certain quantity, either no tax or very lesser tax. Once that quantity exceeds, higher tax. Prohibitory tariff, as the name itself says, now prohibitory, intentionally charging exorbitant high rates of tax, heavy higher taxes. That is called as prohibitory tariff. Next comes import subsidies. When government gives a subsidies that brings a benefit to the producer, automatically its cost of production goes down. That is called as a negative import taxes. Usually on per unit or maybe on the volume of percentage of goods imported, they will give a subsidy. So these are the 15 different types of tariff measure. These are the visible measures. In this, any question, anywhere it can be asked. All 15 types you have to remember. Sir, is there any shortcut to remember these measures of tariff? I often get confused. See, in shortcuts, the problem is there are some slight minute differences between one another. There, you will not be remembering that minute differences if I teach a shortcut here. So I generally don't teach a shortcut here for that very reason. Small minute differences are there. For example, your variable tariff between domestic price and foreign price. Escalated is raw material and finished good. Like this, we have to know the concept. So better to go with the concept rather than just a shortcut here. Wherever shortcuts are there, I will definitely teach. But unnecessary shortcuts, I will avoid it. So these are visible measures. And next comes invisible measures. This is even more interesting. Invisible measures. But every single time we can't use it. See, according to WTO agreement, non-tariff measures are allowed only under certain circumstances. Not under every circumstance. Only when there is a certain circumstance arises like COVID situation or something emergency arises, then only we can go with non-tariff measure. And such. Non-tariff measure is also of two kinds. Technical, non-technical. Under technical, two terms are there. SPS and TBT. And under non-technical, 13 different types are there. Even this non-tariff measure is also 15 types. Divided into 2 plus 13. Technical and non-technical. Under technical, SPS, remember this. Protecting of animal life, human life, plant life, biodiversity life. Because of any addictive pest, contaminants, toxin, disease-causing organism. COVID-19, disease-causing organism. Because of this, we can make a complete ban or prohibit your product for a time being in our country. Like this, we can impose anything. Temporarily, I can prohibit it or totally I can ban because of your commodity, because of any of your product has got addictive, pest, contaminants, toxin, disease-causing organism. Because of that, my human life, animal life, plant life, biodiversities are getting affected. Then we will impose the restriction. That is SPS. TBT. TBT applies to both food products as well as non-food products. This is where once the questions have been asked. And in case of TBT, all, let me say size, shape, design, label, marketing, packaging, functionalities, all the standard and technical regulation. Remember this keywords. Standard and technical regulation related to how the production should happen, what should be the size, what should be the shape, what should be the marking. It applies to both food products as well as non-food product. That is called as TBT. So both SPS and TBT are technical measures. Animal life, human life, plant life, SPS. TBT will be related to product and standard and technical regulations. That is TBT. So next, let us go to non-technical measures. So under the non-technical measures, there are 13 different types. The very first one is called as import quota, quantity restrictions. See, earlier tariff rate quota was there, na? Same to same. See, we will speak about that once again. But this time we will also include origin restriction to that. Quantity restriction is there, origin restriction is not there. That is absolute. Quantity restriction is also there. Origin restriction from so and so country we don't allow. That is called tariff rate quota. Here binding quota means we will give you certain permission only to import a certain quantity. That's it. Beyond that you can't import. If you want to import beyond that quantity, whatever the 1000 quintal, you should take one more license. That is non-binding quota. Next comes embargo. Simple words. Total ban. Will totally ban your product inside our country. We don't want to allow your commodity in the nation. That is called total ban. Either from for a particular country or region, either for a specific period of time or indefinite period of time. It can be anything. Even this ban can be imposed based on health and even religious sentiments also. For example, in Middle East nation, they don't allow pig meat against the religious sentiments. Like this, embargo. Government procurement policy. This topic is very interesting, but most of them will get confused here. See, simple logic. When government is buying any goods and services inside the country, they will impose a restriction stating, see boss, just assume now Tamil Nadu government, they are planning to buy 100 police vans from Mahindra. Now they will say to Mahindra, see pa, I need 100 police vans like for all this women safety na. Like how we have a normal, let me say police beating vehicle, like that I need another 100 extra. But my only condition is at least some 50%, 70%, 80%, 30%, whatever percent. The components and spare parts what you are using, that should be used from domestic market. Like this, they may impose restriction when government is buying goods and services. But government cannot say 100% it should be a domestically procured. That is problem. Because there is something called as national treatment principle, an agreement signed under the WTO. If at all government says 100% component should be domestically procured, that is against national treatment principle. You can't discriminate between domestic good and foreign goods after importing that inside your country. If you want impose embargo, if you don't want the Chinese product to come inside your country, totally ban that product inside your country. Don't allow it at all. But once that goods enter inside your country, now you can't discriminate between that is not Indian good, that is a foreign good. Like this, you can't discriminate. So up to certain percentage you can impose restriction, but you can't say 100% you have to use 100% raw material components of India only, then only I will buy car from you. If you want, you can impose restriction of say 80%, 70%, 50%. That means remaining 20-30% they can use a foreign component. Like this, while government is buying something inside the country, government will give that restriction. Certain proportion or certain percentage should be domestically procured. Then only I will buy the goods from you. That is called government procurement policy. And national treatment principle is you should treat your neighbor's country's goods and services which is coming inside your country as yourself. You cannot discriminate between domestic good and foreign good. That is called national treatment obligation. Trade related investment measures. Now this is interesting. What they do, now government will say, boss, whatever you guys have exported last year, not this year, last year, in that 75% alone you can import this year. That means remaining 25% shut and buy from my local market. Let's assume I'm a car manufacturer. Last year in 2025 and 26, assume I have exported worth of 100 crore rupees of car. In this, 75 crores I can import now. That's it. Not 100%, only 75%. Next comes marketing and after sale services. If you want, you can come to India. You can sell your goods in India, but you can't have your own official service center. After sale services, you can't start. You can only and only come to India, sell your goods in India, but you can't have a after sale services, service centers, repair shops. No, you can't have it. That our local people will do it. Financial measures. Now government will say, still if you want to import that commodity, I'm saying not to import it, but you are just saying that no, it is important to me. I wanted to import. Okay, pay that money and taxes, whatever required is there 3 months in advance. Now which intelligent fellow will do that? 3 months in advance you have to pay. See, value of the goods imported 3 months before the arrival of the goods or foreign exchange may not be permitted for the importing of new scripts. Intentionally will delay, will not allow you the finance, FEMA regulations will not be cleared. And price control measures, intentionally levying extra taxes and making the prices to go higher, foreign goods prices in our country. License, I will not give it at all, or even if I give it, I will just give it for 1 year. Next year when you come for renewal, non-automatic licensing. Last year I allowed it, this year we have prohibited. And measures affecting competition, I don't give permission, I don't give license for everyone, only for my own government people or Adani, Ambani I will give, not for everyone, only they can import it. Like this, measures affecting the competition. Intentionally, I will create a monopoly for importing and distributing that in the country. After importing, who can redistribute, who should not redistribute, and administrative delay, intentionally making it new procedures, new license, blah, blah, and all. We are totally frustrating the importer. Rules related to origin. If the good is coming from so-and-so country, we don't allow. Okay, leave about that. From Iran. If any goods comes, we don't allow. So people will take raw material from Iran, they will manufacture in Singapore. From Singapore, product will come. We will ask for certificate of origin. Like this, rules of origin. From where did the spare part has come? I know product as end car has come from Singapore, but for that car, where did the tire come from? Iran. Remove tire and give. No, we don't just do like that. I'm giving example. That means even spare parts, origin certificate we will ask. Like this, we will impose restrictions on origin. Third one, safeguarding measures. All of a sudden, sometimes your product has been imported more into my country, unable to sell. That is only flooding here. Now it has threatened my domestic market. It has created an injury. For a time being, temporary purpose, I will not allow that goods to come inside my country, any fresh goods to come inside. For a temporary purpose, foreign goods cannot come inside my country. See, country restrict imports of the product temporarily if the domestic industry is injured or threatened with a serious injury caused by the surge of the imports. This is on a non-discretionary basis. So these are the 13 types of non-technical measures. Embargo, Pakistan example, total ban. We don't allow certain goods from Pakistan, and even Syria, Lebanon, Iran, Iraq. Like this, there is a list of country here now, wherever the examples are there. Including examples, you have to read once, because sometimes straight away word to word, keyword, it has been asked in the exam. I will show the exam question papers. Next comes export related measures. This is most easiest. This is by this unit 2 comes to an end. See, ban on exports. We don't allow exports at all. Total ban. And export tax. Still, if you want to export it, pay tax here also and pay tax in the importing country also. Your product becomes worsened. Sometimes government will only give subsidies and other benefits, incentives to produce more and export from the country. And voluntary export restriction is a quota restriction. That is quantity restriction on exports. So what quantity we will allow you to export? Beyond that, we don't allow. Still, if you want to send it, excess of tax. Like this, voluntary export restraint, quantity restrictions on export. So these are voluntary export restraints. So these are the 4 types of export related measures. By this, unit 2 also comes to an end. Nothing big in the unit 2 also. Clear? Go through it. Any doubts, let me know before moving to unit 3. Unit 3 is very small. Unit 3 will also not take much time. RTAs are there, regional trade agreements is there, WHO and GATT. Full storytelling unit 3. Nothing big there. Even chapter 9 is easy to score. There is nothing like breaking your head there. Yeah, let's go to the next unit. YouTube live students. Okay, trade negotiation. So if you remember in the unit 2, I spoke about bounded tariff between WTO members. We have a legal agreement. We cannot raise it beyond. If at all we have to raise, we need to sit, we need to negotiate in front of a WTO and we have to compensate them. Sir, at the end of the class, can you give us the strategy? Sure, definitely. What strategy are you looking out for, by the way? Which one? Like preparation, one day before exams? What is it? Okay. So we have to negotiate with our trading partner. Then only we should compensate. That negotiating. See, trade negotiation. Because of negotiation, this will develop a new international trade rules. And this trade negotiation is a complex interactive process. That is not just a one round of meeting. It is a multiple rounds of meeting between the stakeholders and the engaging nation. It will be multiple levels of meeting. This will create a new international trade rules. So that is trade negotiation. One such beautiful example is RTA, Regional Trade Agreement. So wherein which in the previous unit we spoke about preferential tariff. Nearby countries will form their own small group. But here no rule that nearby country should only create a small group. Anyone can create, even from a different geographical continents. That is called RTA, the agreement between the trading partners to reduce international trade. To reduce barriers and promoting international trade. That is promoting more and more welfare is called as a RTA. Till date, 339 some change RTAs. That one once the question was asked. I think in May attempt, they have asked one question about it. But I will show that. One GK question related to that they have asked here. Some 329 or 339 RTAs are existing till date. Only that one GK question was there from this. Some nook and corner, they will pick up the question. Anyhow, when we are solving it, I will show you. chapter 9. We will find in one of the question paper it is there. I think 329 or 339 RTAs are there till date, which is applicable. All such questions will also come. That's the reason I ask you to read once like a newspaper, all this ICA material. And mainly there are 8 types of RTA. This types and meaning, example, meaning, example, meaning, example. This is important. I usually call it as a lunchbox example. Now, as at the moment, forget the lunchbox example. Let's say European country, nearby countries. They will eliminate all kinds of barriers between themselves and with any outsider, common external tariff. That is called as trading bloc. Arab League, European Trade Association follows. Now they say, okay, between ourselves, we will eliminate all the trade, all these rules, regulations and all. But outsider, why should we have this common external tariff? We will enter into our own wish. Let's say, for example, we will enter into with any outsider, we will have our own agreement, our own rules and regulation. That is called free trade area. Next, customs union, no. Between ourselves, we will have it free. Between outsider, we will have a common regulation, not for export, even for imports also. Export as well as import, both common regulation. That is customs union. Whenever you see this word union, remember European Union example and as well as GCC country. Once they have asked a question from this GCC country and European Union. Customs union is an example of GCC. And European Union, all 27 member countries. Next, common market. Now, between members, not just free trade and also free movement of factors of production also. Between outsider, common regulation. Next, same continuation. Free trade between members, common regulation with outsider, free flow of factors of production. Now, common central bank and common currency also. Europe is the best example. European Central Bank and Euro is there. Common currency. Unilateral agreement. One country opens its doors to another country without any restriction. Now, for example, Sri Lanka. Economy is not going well. Now Indian government will say, Sri Lanka, no worries, you come sell the goods inside India. I will not levy any kind of taxes and only for you. One country opening its doors to another country. One country opens the gates, other country gets the benefit. That is called unilateral trade agreement. Next comes bilateral trade agreement between two countries. Now India enters into trade agreement with Japan. Japan has its own rules and regulation. India has its own rules and regulation. Bilateral agreement, multilateral, between group of country, between the group of nation like Middle East nation, European nation, between the group of country when there is an agreement, that is called as a multilateral agreement. Recently, Turkey, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia entered into a multilateral agreement. If any one country gets attacked, it is treated as everyone getting attacked. Turkey, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. And after that agreement, only very next day in Saudi Arabia, there was an attack on one of their petroleum refinery. And even I was expecting Pakistan will go and join for them. They will try to blast the Iran there. Nothing happened. Simply, it's like one comedy it has become. Now today, geopolitics and Trump, all the stupid fellows have become a big comedy now. One or the other disturbance they will create. Next comes GATT and WTO. Yeah, 99% is against the WTO policies only. In your books, WTO, everyone are more powerful. Only in your books, not in real life. Okay. So now GATT, it's a very simple concept. It is after the Second World War in 1945, John Maynard Keynes, he wanted to set up 3 world-class institutions, IMF, World Bank, ITO. First 2 got established, IMF and World Bank. ITO was taking a lot of time because of one Kirik fellow, stupid fellow called as USA. He didn't agree to become a member. So all capitalistic economy backed out to become a member. As a temporary, as a secretariat, we established GATT. GATT was just a secretariat, which was only and only covering with goods. That's it. It was not covering with services or intellectual property. That became an issue later. And all the member country was somewhat insofar binding, and it was not having a proper, let me say, trade negotiating forums or dispute settlement body, nothing. It was just a secretariat with 123 member countries, and it was existing for 47 years. And it was only and only covering with goods. But GATT started losing its relevance after 1980. This is important. Why? International trade scenarios got increased. Leaps and bounds. Services, intellectual, it was not covered. And agricultural trade, efforts to liberalize agricultural trade was not successful. And the treaties were heavily exploited. Loopholes was exploited. World trade started increasing. But GATT could not able to control everything. Same thing I've given here one by one. See, in 1994, GATT was ended and became a part of WTO. In its existence, after Second World War, total 8 rounds of meeting was made. The last and the 8th round is called Uruguay round. That shaped the WTO and that made all of them to sign in a place called as Geneva, which is in Switzerland. There is the headquarters of WTO. So GATT was established as a secretariat. Later, GATT was culminated into WTO. Whatever we call it as a good council under WTO. This part, see, ministerial conference, top level, general conference, this good council. Earlier, this is what we used to call it as GAT. So GAT was only and only existing for a temporary period, only for some 47 years. That's it. From 1948 to 1994. In its 47 years of existence, there were 8 rounds of meeting. Last round, 8th round was Uruguay round, which ended in 1994. GAT was only covering with good, did not cover services and IPR. All the member countries reshaped with 124 member nations was there in, they signed in a place called as Geneva. Now WTO covers all the three: GAT, services and intellectual property. See, why GATT lost its relevance? It was fastest evolving contemporary complex global world trade scenarios and international investments were expanded. GATT was not covering everything. Intellectual property rights and services was not a part of GATT. World trade increased leaps and bounds. It went beyond the scope. Ambiguity, that is loopholes, were heavily exploited in the GATT and efforts to liberalize agriculture was not successful. There was an inadequate institutional structure and dispute resolution system. If there is any dispute between the country, between member countries, there was no forum to settle the dispute or any inadequate institution, proper institutional structure was not there. And because of all this, in Uruguay round, finally they culminated everyone, all blah 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 rules they made, and they started with WTO. WTO headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. It has 164 member country. In that 117 are developing nation, 24 are negotiating membership, still yet to become a full-fledged member. Today's 95% of world trade is carried out by WTO. It started its operation on 1st of July, but it was established on 1st of January 1995. Now it covers all the three: goods, services and intellectual property, TRIPS, trade-related intellectual property services. What are its main key objectives? I've given here. See, key 6 objectives. Same: trade, dispute resolution, act as a forum to promote international trade, to reduce all those barriers, blah, blah, blah. Same thing. What we speak in GATT, same thing we speak in WTO also. And under this, there are 3 levels: ministerial conference, topmost level, they will meet once in 2 years. General conference, the general council will meet multiple times in a year. They are the one who will actually run the WTO. They are the one who sit for dispute resolution. Under them, they have all the 3 council: goods council, service council, TRIPS council. And see, in India, we had something called multi-fiber agreement under the GATT. Now it has become a textile agreement under WTO. Both WTO and GATT both works on national treatment principle. Treat your neighbor's goods like how you treat your own goods. You should not discriminate after importing, and all this guiding principle. See, all this now I've given in a shortest form. What to remember in a keywords. This alone, you pause it and read it like a newspaper once. This should be sufficient here. Sir, I'm good with micro, but I can't able to know from which chapters I want to start revision. So that's why I'm asking any strategy for the last 5 days. Okay, I will speak about it. No worries. Sankul, okay. Now there are some 13 agreements. All these are just read-only concepts. Sorry, 16 agreements. And Doha developmental agenda. 9th round of meeting. 8th round was Uruguay round. 9th round is Doha down. Here also, most controversial topic is agriculture trade. Agricultural trade liberalization was not that easy. Even today, same issue. And G20 economy, global 20 economy. See, remember the member countries. Till that, once the question has asked only from this area. All major big countries name. Like for example, you will hear some new name. Tunisia. That is not a member. Once they have asked which among the following is not a member country of G20, Tunisia was an answer. And all these people, they will meet whenever the crisis happens in the world, like recently COVID-19, pandemic, Russia-Ukraine war. They have their own kind of restrictions in the world, especially because of war and pandemic situations. And now because of all this US and Iran war, they are meeting it. They are taking rules and regulation between the G20, global 20 members. That's it. This is unit 3. Nothing other than full story between GATT and WTO. Yeah. May 25, they have asked G20. Which among the following countries is not a member of a G20? Tunisia is not a member. So full storytelling, just a read-only concept in that. Unit number 3, nothing big there. Clear? Okay. So let's go to unit 4. One of the interesting unit it is. Another 30 minutes to 45 minutes will be done. Already like 45 minutes up. Another 45 minutes. Okay. So unit number 4, one of the interesting unit where numerical problems will also come. Formula is actually wrong in the institute material. You have to remember the same formula. From past 2 attempts, the questions are coming, especially from the numericals here. See, first understand, what is foreign exchange rate? It is a value of one nation's currency in terms of another nation's currency. That is called as foreign exchange rate. Now, for example, there will be two currencies involved. $1 is equals to 95 Indian rupee. I'm just taking round figure. 96 is it is today. Now, the left side, what we are writing, this is called base currency. And right side, what we write is called as counter currency. If base currency is a foreign currency, counter currency is a domestic currency, that is called direct quote. In India, we follow direct quote. Opposite. If base currency is a Indian currency and counter currency is a foreign currency, then it is called as indirect quote. Base currency is a domestic, counter currency is a foreign currency. Clear? And next comes foreign exchange rate regime. Mainly there are two types of regime. That is what you have to understand. The very first one is a fixed exchange rate. Fixed exchange rate. In this, government of the nation will fix. That is also called as pegging or fixing. Pegged exchange rate. Second one is a floating exchange rate. Floating exchange rate, wherein which this exchange rate is purely decided by demand and supply, market forces. So these are the main two types of exchange rate system. In India till 1991, we were following a fixed exchange rate. From 1993 and onwards, we started following a floating. The biggest disadvantage of floating exchange rate is it will make international trade riskier. Today I will enter into transaction. $1 will be 95. I will say I will execute it after a week. After a week, this can become either 90 or this can also become 100. But in fixed exchange rate, unless and until the nation's government changes the rate, the rates will not at all fluctuate. Rates are going to remain constant. That is called as fixed exchange rate. Suppose Indian government will say $1 is equals to 90 rupee. So until government changes that next time, whether today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, 1 week, 1 year, until government changes, the rate will remain same. And to support that fixed exchange rate, nation has to maintain huge foreign exchange reserve. But here just an adequate reserves are required in floating rate. But huge reserves are needed in the fixed exchange rate system. Clear? In floating, inflation is freely operated, but here inflation is totally controlled. And independent monetary policy is needed in floating. Independent monetary policy is not needed in fixed. Like the small differences are there. I have also given those. And here, under the floating exchange rate, we have one more kind that is called as a managed float, or also called as a dirty float. So what is this managed float or dirty float? Simple concept. Nation's government will not straight away involve. In order to control heavy fluctuations, they will become participant in the exchange market. That is called as managed float or dirty float. So the nation's government, like people like you and us, they will become a participant by buying and selling the domestic country's currency. So if nation's government completely involves, fixed exchange rate. If they become participant in the currency market, floating exchange under that managed float. India follows that managed float, also called as dirty float, wherein which the nation's government will become participant in the exchange market to control the fluctuation. They don't target any specific nation's currency, but they will try to control it. So under the fixed exchange rate, any movement that is happening upwards and downwards, that is called as devaluation and revaluation. But here it is called as appreciation and depreciation. Deliberate increase in the value. Yesterday we spoke about those now. Where is that? Here. See, appreciation, depreciation. This happens in floating exchange rate. If same thing is happening in fixed exchange rate, this is called as revaluation. This is called as devaluation. Depreciation is also called devaluation in fixed exchange rate. Appreciation is called revaluation in fixed exchange rate. So that is in fixed. This is in floating. This is the main logic yesterday which we discussed. Clear? When exports will increase, when exports will decrease, when imports will increase, when imports will decrease. So these are the mainly two types of exchange rate regime, fixed and floating. And inside the floating, we have one more type, that is managed float. So these are the exchange rate regimes. So same thing, see, floating and fixed. We have explained it, advantages, disadvantages, managed float. That is what India follows, especially in fixed exchange rate. The nation's currency, that is foreign exchange reserves, should be huge. See, they have to maintain huge foreign exchange reserves to support all of this. And at last, part number 5, I have given the difference. Yeah, see here. Difference between fixed exchange rate and floating exchange rate. Fixed exchange will be stable and credible, but floating will be transparent. We need transparency than stability. Fixed exchange rate, wherein which monetary authority or central bank will determine, but here demand and supply, market forces will decide it. In fixed exchange rate, inflation is totally controlled. Inflation will not work, but here inflation is not controlled. Here we don't want any independent monetary policy, but here we want independent monetary policy. In floating, we don't want huge exchange reserve, but here we need to maintain huge exchange reserve. Here it will bring stability and promotes international trade, but here it makes international trade riskier because it is flexible and unstable. And devaluation, revaluation under fixed, depreciation, appreciation under floating. So this is the main difference between fixed and floating exchange rate. Clear? But now numerical comes from this area: nominal exchange rate, real exchange rate concept. This you need to remember the most. Nominal exchange rate and real exchange rate. See, nominal means very simple. Today at which the market is running. Today's market exchange rate, $1 is equals to 96 Indian rupee. This is called nominal rate. No difference at all, no complications at all. But the complication comes when you understand real exchange rate. In real exchange rate, we are trying to understand the nation's currency in terms of goods and service value between the nation. Let's say, for example, now in India, 1 kg tomato. 1 kg tomato. Let's assume it is 70 rupee. Same 1 kg tomato in USA is $1.5. Now, how much is $1? Now, $1 is 95 Indian rupee. Consider round figure, 95 Indian rupee. But in USA, same 1 kg tomato is not 95. It is $1.5. Clear up? So 1.5. So 95 into 1.5. That means it is 142.5 rupees. This is the price of tomato in terms of Indian currency. But in India, we get it for 70 rupees. So we have to bring it into a common value. That means in terms of goods and services, what is the nation's exchange rate? That is where real exchange rate formula comes into picture. So real exchange rate formula. Today, what is the nominal exchange rate? $1 is 95 rupee. In India, domestic price of tomato is 70 rupee. There $1.5. That was 142.5. Clear? Now you need to solve this. 95 into 70 divided by 142.5. So it is 53.41. That means $1 is not 95 rupee. $1 is actually 53.41 rupees in terms of goods. So in terms of goods and services, we need to determine. So this is real exchange rate formula. So instead of giving domestic price and foreign price, they may also give it as index. See, domestic price index, foreign price index. So by using the same formula, for example, by using this real effective exchange rate, for example, formula, real effective, real exchange rate. One more concept is the real effective exchange rate. I will explain. So real exchange rate is nominal exchange rate into domestic price index divided by foreign price index. So this is the formula. Opposite of this is a nominal formula. So what is nominal? Nominal exchange rate is equals to real exchange rate into foreign price index divided by domestic price index. So remember this shortcut. Whenever you are calculating nominal, FD, bank FD, F by D. If it is real, D by F. If it is nominal, remember bank FD, F by D. If it is real, D by F. That's it. Let me show the exam question itself. In the past 2 attempts, continuously these questions are coming. Wait, let me show. Chapter 9. Have a look here. Calculate real exchange rate. By the way, what is the formula for real exchange rate? So real exchange rate is equals to nominal exchange rate into D by F, domestic by foreign. If it is nominal FD, it is D by F. So nominal, they have only given nominal value is how much? 15 into domestic price index 250 divided by foreign price index 200. That's it. 18.75. And one more question. Wait, even in January attempt also they have asked. In January that has nominal exchange rate value. Actually, these formulas are wrong. It should be different formula, but still follow the same. See, they are asking nominal exchange rate. What is nominal exchange rate formula? That is real exchange rate bank FD. So it is F divided by D, foreign index divided by domestic index. Now real exchange rate 25 into foreign index 70 divided by domestic index 140. So do it. 25 into 70 divided by 140. Answer is 12.5. But actually I had taken the correct formula there. The correct formula, if at all I take this has to be reversed. This part has to be reversed. That is correct formula. Answer will come 50. But as per your ICI formula, wrong formula, even in answer key, they have taken 12.5. So this is where the exam questions are coming. From past 2 attempts, they have asked the question. So kindly remember this. Do not forget. Real exchange rate and nominal exchange rate. So simple. In terms of value of goods and services, not in terms of the current market value. Current market value is nominal. Real exchange rate is exchange rate value in terms of goods and services. Clear? And real effective exchange rate, simple, from the present nominal exchange rate divided with a deflator value, GDP deflator concept. They will give the index, price index value. Just we have to remove that inflation part in the present nominal exchange rate. That is called real effective exchange rate. Suppose if this real effective exchange rate is increasing, that means currency is getting appreciated. Earlier it was 70, now it has become 60. 70 rupees to 60 rupee means appreciated. Whenever the domestic currency gets appreciated, our exports will decrease, imports will increase. That you should be remembering. Same to same. Yesterday I spoke about that same logic only I'm speaking about here. Whenever domestic currency appreciates, exports will decrease, imports will increase, because imports will become cheaper to us. Export will become expensive though foreign people stops importing from us. So this is the concept there. Nominal exchange rate and real exchange rate, real effective exchange rate. So this is where usually the exam questions are going to come. So be careful. So numerical calculations are coming from nominal exchange rate and real exchange rate. Okay. So this PDF, this is not as per the ICI flow. It has changed. That is why the other day I explained why I didn't share this PDF, because I have my own flow. That is the reason I did not share. But you can actually download it, not a problem. I think in the previous marathon, they have shared that link, material link. My main link only, they have given entire PDF of my main material, 500 page material only, they have given it off. I think it is in the Jan 26 attempt marathon link, or maybe May 26. Anyone, you can check out. Clear? So foreign exchange market, that is part number 3. So what is this foreign exchange market? Simple concept. It is an electronically linked market where buyer and seller transact 24/7. Who are the dealers in this foreign exchange market? Bankers, institutions, brokers, and other dealers who will transact 24/7. Spot range or future rate. Spot range, it is an over-the-counter market. I go give a currency in counter, I will take the foreign currency in the other counter. That's it. The rest all of these are read-only concept. But now this is important. Determination of nominal exchange rate. See, simple logic. Demand and supply. Let's say this is the demand of dollar. This is the supply of dollar. The point of intersection. That is how the market rates gets decided. Clear up? So this is supply of dollar. This is demand of dollar. And today the point of equilibrium, the rate, let's assume it is 95 Indian rupee for $1. Suppose if the demand for a dollar is increasing, wait, let me copy this. Let's say the demand for a dollar is increasing. So there will be new line towards the right side. So this is new D1 of dollar. So this is the new equilibrium E1. Now at the new equilibrium E1, observe the exchange values have gone up from 95. Let's say it has become 100. So what is the logic here? Logic is very simple. Whichever country's currency's demand goes up, that country currency gets appreciated. That is the shortcut. See here, demand is increasing. For dollar, demand is increasing. So RHS shift. So demand dollar. Demand is increasing of dollar. Whichever currency's demand goes up, that country's currency appreciate, opposite country's currency depreciates. This is the logic with respect to demand. See, whichever nation's currency's demand goes up, whichever currency demand goes up, that country's currency gets appreciated, opposite country's currency gets depreciated. In supply, it is reverse. Whichever nation's currency supply increases, that currency gets depreciated. See, when supply increases, RHS shift. See, this is S1 of dollar. So this is new equilibrium even. At this new equilibrium even, observe, this is becoming 90 rupee. That means dollar supply increased. Supply is increasing for dollar. So now dollar gets depreciated, rupee gets appreciated. Now opposite logic. Whichever currency's supply goes up, that country's currency gets depreciated. But in demand, whichever country's demand goes up, currency demand goes up, that country currency gets appreciated. That's it. This is the shortcut. Either you are understanding from the demand perspective or either you are understanding from the supply perspective. It doesn't matter. Always remember which country's demand goes up. Simple. Whichever country's currency demand goes up, that country currency appreciate, opposite country's currency depreciate. If it is supply, reverse logic. Supply goes up, that country's currency depreciate, opposite country's currency appreciate. That's it. So how do we decide the nominal exchange rate? Simple. Due to demand and supply. In this, demand may change or supply may change. The reasons, all the theories are given. Why you need demand? Why are you demanding? Your money is going outside. I'm buying some foreign asset. I'm buying some foreign stocks. See, I'm purchasing some foreign goods and services. Unilateral transfer. Purchasing of financial assets and stocks and bonds abroad. I'm opening a foreign bank account. And same way, supply side, money is coming inside. Supply is always an inflow. Money is coming inside. Inflow. But demand is always an outflow. Money is going out. So in case of a demand side of the exchange rate, money is going out. Supply side means money is coming inside. So same shortcut I have explained. Whatever theories I have given, see, this is demand curve. Demand is going towards the right hand side. Earlier, assume it was 95. Now it is becoming 100. So here demand is increasing for dollar. So dollar got appreciated, rupee got depreciated. Next, supply increases. See, this is supply line. When supply increased, now automatically supply is increasing for dollar. One second. Supply is increasing for dollar. So automatically dollar will depreciate, rupee will appreciate. Observe, earlier this was 95, it is becoming 90. So same logic. Supply reverse logic, demand straight logic. Clear? So same to same thing. I have given few couple of questions here. By this, unit 4 will also come to an end. So first do this. Suppose India starts to export more. When we export, we should receive money or we should pay money. We should receive money. Receive means dollar is coming inside. Supply of dollar it is. So when supply is increasing for a dollar, reverse logic, dollar gets depreciated, rupee gets appreciated. Next, see there, Indian political instability occurred due to the murder of some Indian politician. So foreign investors will say, Tata bye bye. They will leave the country. So they will come and demand more and more for dollar. When demand increases for dollar, dollar gets appreciated, rupee gets depreciated. Like this in class, I have given multiple scenarios like this. Some Australian dollar, US dollar, some confusing statements and all. We have done all this. So like this, questions may come in the exam. So for a safer side, we have done it. And what are the effects of exchange rate fluctuation? That I have also given one shortcut here. What happens when currency gets appreciated? What happens if domestic currency gets depreciated? So simple, whenever domestic currency gets appreciated, assume $1, which was earlier 95 Indian rupee. Now $1 will become 90 Indian rupees. Because of this, exports will decrease, imports will increase. See, Indian currency is gaining value. Domestic currency is becoming stronger. So foreign goods will become cheaper to Indian, so imports will increase. But Indian goods will become costlier to foreigners, exports will decrease. India starts importing more, exporting less, and Indians traveling to abroad will increase. Earlier, to buy $1, I was paying 95 rupee. Now only 90 rupee. So Indians traveling to abroad will increase. Foreigner visiting India will become costlier. Indian who has borrowed money from abroad, I always want domestic rupee to get appreciated. I borrowed when it was 95 rupee. At the time of repayment, I have to repay only 90 rupees. See, Indian who have invested in abroad will always think that Indian currency to depreciate, foreign currency to appreciate. But who has borrowed from abroad, he wants domestic currency to appreciate, foreign currency to depreciate. So this is the shortcuts for rupee appreciation, Indian rupee appreciation. And next, Indian rupee depreciation. let's say earlier $1 which was 95 Indian rupee, now same thing, $1 is becoming 100 rupees. $1 is becoming 100. So this is depreciation. Now exports will increase, imports will decrease. See, Indian goods becomes cheaper, so exports will increase, imports will become decreasing because imports have become costlier for us. So GDP growth rate will happen, employment will increase because we should export more now, we should produce more, we should appoint more people. And since we are exporting more and more rather than selling inside the country, inside our country is also demand is more, but we are not producing more and supplying more. Because of that, in India, demand is more but supply is less. This will lead to excess demand and price increases. That is called demand pull inflation inside the country. Since imports have become expensive, we are reducing. Certain imports we can't reduce it at all, like life-saving drugs, petroleum items. Already you are importing at high price and you have to sell inside the country also at high price. That is called as cost push inflation because of importing of essential commodities. So both inflation will go up, demand pull inflation, cost push inflation. Both the inflations will increase. So Indian who are traveling to abroad will become expensive. Indians who have borrowed from abroad, he has to pay more money. Cost of borrowings will go up. So these are the effects of depreciation. Good things and bad things. Good things, GDP will increase, employment will increase. When currency gets depreciated, export will increase. Our current account value, because we are exporting more, we will receive more money. But bad things, cost of traveling will increase. Cost of borrowing will increase. Cost of essential import will increase. Inflation will increase. Both the inflation, demand pull, cost push. Both the inflation will increase. Clear? So by this, unit number 4 also comes to an end. So unit number 5, the last unit, main predominance of FDI concept. Major FDI concept is what is explained the most here. Before moving into last unit. Can you tell about market research? That's my personal business, man, other than teaching. After completion of revision. Others will get confused if I speak about research and all other than about economics here. You can contact me if you are interested to learn after your exam. When you are free, if you are interested to do, you can. I can give you an internship, not a problem. Okay, let's get started here. So international capital movement. See, when we speak about capital movement, we should be very much clear about what is capital movement and what is foreign investment. So in this chapter, we are more and more interested on foreign investment rather than capital movement. So such foreign investment, we are speaking about two things here, FDI and FPI. Let me give a proper weight. I will take out from my previous material. Wait. 1 second. Economics. Class material, class. Oh, where is it? Chalo, I'm unable to find. Leave it. Let me write it off for you guys. Okay. See, first understand the difference between FDI and FPI. FDI, FPI. See, in FDI, it is always and always investment on assets or infrastructure. But FPI, investment on financial market, or we call it as capital market. This is the major difference. Investment in assets or infrastructures of the nation, FDI. Investment in finance or capital market is called as FPI. FDI is always greater than 10% investment. FPI is always less than 10% investment. FDI intention is always and always long-term investment. But here either long-term or short-term. But in FDI now, intention is to have a management control. Management and control. But here no management and control, purely speculative. Speculative and opportunistic. We will just invest, we will make a nice amount of money, we will say tata bye bye. But here, equities are held are for the purpose of management control. Here, equities are held purely as a speculative. That means profit motive. Thus, we have to bifurcate. This we have to differentiate. This is the most important. And in FDI, now, whenever a foreign company comes to India, invest it in India, they will just bring a technology. So there is just a technology transfer. But here, fund transfer, no technology and all, just a fund transfer to capital market or stock market. And here it will impact on employment and the GDP of the country. Foreign investment comes in, they will take local employment and they will come and produce inside India, in India. So that's why inside India, GDP will increase in India. But here, no impact on employment or GDP. No impact on employment or GDP of the nation. Purely just a speculative motive. Invest it, take a nice amount of return profit, set it up, bye-bye. But here we are investing on assets of the country, will stay here for a longer time. So government gives more and more importance to FDI rather than giving importance to FPI, because it is a non-debt capital investment inside the India, non-debt financial investment. Without we borrowing a loan, a foreign company is coming to India, they are investing in India, they are operating and they are conducting a business inside India. That is what is FDI. And FDI, there are two ways of entry. Entry is of two ways. Number one, automatic route approval. The second one is government approval. Automatic route approval and government approval. But earlier we also had one more, Foreign Investment Promotion Board. But we have scrapped this. Now we don't have this Foreign Investment Promotion Board. It has been replaced with Foreign Investment Facilitation Portal, FIFP. But presently we have only these two ways, automatic route approval and government approval. Now, one of the most important repeatedly asked question is, after entering inside under either automatic route approval or government approval, what are the modes of FDI? This kindly mark it as important. How do you start this FDI business? Either by opening your own subsidiary company or associated company, 20% stake, or your foreign branch. You may also have a foreign branch, or through franchising business. McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Hut, Burger King, all this, or bringing through equity injection, like anything greater than 10%, and also acquisitions, merger, joint ventures, or any annexation of interest in the existing company. In this now, most recently repeated question is brownfield investment, greenfield investment. What is greenfield? Completely fresh investment. There was no infrastructure, there was no setup. Foreign company will come, they will only set up everything from scratch. That is called as greenfield investment. Brownfield, already facilities existing, we are coming and taking over, or we are taking, merging that, acquiring that, or taking in on lease. And then we are running. In India, 100% brownfield investment is allowed in airport projects. Automatic approval under the airport projects. Brownfield airport projects. And this once they have asked a question. So of late in the recent attempt, greenfield investment question has come. Previously in Jan, brownfield investment question has come. This they are of late recently asking multiple number of times. Clear up. So main, understand FDI business. See, it is always greater than 10% investment, and resident of some other home country will come and invest it in host country. Now here host country is India. Assume host country is India. Home country is the foreign country. Clear? And he will come to India. He will invest and he needs a substantial ownership, management and control. He will invest it on assets in the own host country. It is a long-term investment on physical assets. And here there is no kind of direct investment companies. All of this technology transfers will happen, cultural transfers will happen, employment and GDP gets affected. Whatever highlighted now, same thing I have given here as a difference. Same thing I gave it as a difference. So this is FD. I see equity, retained earnings. See, in general, giving loan is not an FDI. But if any individual has a greater than 10% stake, let's assume that Shashikiran, I have invested in some company. I have a stake of greater than 10%. And I give a loan to that company. Even that loan money becomes FDI if I have a stake of greater than 10%. Suppose I don't have a stake of greater than 10%. In general, I will give a loan. That is not FDI. Only when a person is also having a stake of greater than 10%, then if he provides a loan, then if he grants a loan, then such loan money will become a FDI. Clear? And see, who can invest on FDI? Individuals, incorporated, unincorporated, public, private enterprise, associated groups, individuals, governments, agency, foreign governments, trust, or any combinations of above. What are the main forms? Usually they will come and open up their overseas company here, like branch and subsidies, or creating a joint venture, joint development of natural resource, purchase and annexation, mergers and acquisitions. And this is another important area. Most repeatedly asked question, types of FDI. There are mainly 4 types of FDI. The very first one, horizontal direct investment. Which investment? Horizontal direct investment. That means I will come to other country, I will start the same business what I am doing in my home country. Let's assume Yamaha, motor vehicle company, two-wheeler motor vehicle. From Japan, all the way they will come to India, they will do the same business in India. So when they come to other nation and conduct the same business, that is called horizontal direct investment. Vertical investment, similar business, not the same. Let's say Yamaha will come to India. Rather than starting two-wheeler manufacturing and sales company, they will start manufacturing tires. Tire is related to same automobile component only. That is called vertical investment. Conglomerate, totally different business. Yamaha will come to India. Rather than starting motor vehicle business, now they will start a piano, guitar, musical instrument. Yes, they are doing in India. That is totally different business. And reciprocal investment. We go to Japan and invest. Japan people will come to India and invest. It is like an exchange offer, two-way direct investment. Also called as reciprocal investment. Appa, this is the most repeated exam question asked. Most repeatedly asked question. Horizontal direct investment is a same business. Vertical, similar business. Conglomerate, different business. Two-way direct investment is a reciprocal investment. So these are the 4 types of FDI. And modes of FDI, already I spoke. Reasons for FDI, just a generic topic. See, why? Number 1, profit motive, resource seeking. In your country, environment standards are low. We can come and exploit anything. In your country, cheap labor ka dukan. Resources can be exploited nicely. Your technologies are growing. I will take advantage. Your market is growing. I want to grow. And my business should be in international. See, market seeking. I want your nation's market to sell my goods and services. Resources are great in your country. Availability of a cheap labor resources. Technology is improving. I can earn more profits by making your people bakra. Diversification. I want to start something new in different country. Tax benefit. Nirmala aunty said, you come, we will not take tax from you. From our people, we will suck more tax. So we are coming inside and avoiding barriers and all. If at all I send goods, Nirmala aunty used to impose all this tariff barriers. 15 types was there, na? So I entered India. Apple is one best example. Environment standards are too low in India. That is why we'll come to India. Political environment. At the moment, only Modi uncle is stable. No good opponent at all. Next, high interdependency is there either for market, technology, raw material, employee. Better I will only come down. My business is internationalization. My products are available in multiple locations. Your geographical location is good. I can serve East market and West market. In your nation, growth rate is going up. Even I should take advantage. Like this, generic topics. Clear? And benefits and costs of FDI. What are all the benefits? What are all the costs? Just a read-only concept to see. The biggest drawback is all these foreign companies will bring their capital-oriented technology. But India is a labor-intensive technology. And they bring only the low-level employment inside the country. All decision-making will be in their country only. They will bring their outdated technology and we call it as wow, amazing and all. They will start exploiting our own natural resources. Over a period of time, those stupid fellows will only become monopoly inside a country. Full opposite. It looks like great when we see benefits here. Large varieties of option will get available to our customers. Because of competition, it is also available for lower price. Foreign company starts competing with our domestic company. Our domestic monopolies will get eliminated of Tata, Birlas and all. And it will provide more employment opportunity. They will bring high-end technology, but bullshit. They will bring their outdated technology and low-level technologies. And it will effective on environment, optimum utilization, but over-exploitation will happen over a period of time. So these are the disadvantages. And history of FDI. See, same concept. Before 1991, we were not allowing any foreign companies to come inside India nor foreign goods to enter India. Only after 1991, we started allowing. And even in India, we changed multiple rules and regulations after that. We had FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. Later, it was replaced with FEMA, Foreign Exchange Management Act. So SEZ was established, Special Economic Zones. And a SEZ Act was brought into a picture. And automatic route and government approval are the 2 different ways through which it will enter. And these are some liberalizations of rules that we have made for promoting more and more FDI same way. There are certain businesses on which FDI is not allowed. They will not allow to come inside our country in terms of lottery business, gambling and betting, chit fund, Nidhi company. This is NBFC. Foreign company cannot come and be a Nidhi company in India. Trading in transferable developed rights, real estate, construction, manufacturing, all kinds of tobacco and tobacco substitutes and activities specifically reserved to our public sector, not even to our private sector allowed, like atomic energy generation and railways. Foreign companies cannot. These are the areas of prohibition. Clear? And rest remaining things are just a read only topic here. Like foreign direct investment, how much money we have received. India is the 8th ranking among the major FDI recipient in 2020. Just a read only topic. So next comes FPI. Clear? Foreign portfolio investments. As I said already here, difference. It is invested on financial capital, stock market, hedge funds, all those. Less than 10% investment. Either it can be long term or short term. No management control. They are speculative and opportunistic. Intention is profit motive. Just a fund transfer will happen. No impact on employment and GDP. Same thing here. If any investor confidence is shaken, something slowly happens inside your country, they will take out huge money and they will say tada bye bye. That will make your finance market more and more volatile. Especially stock markets will be volatile more and more. In India, what is happening from few months, financial crises in the host country, it will create. Same thing, differences I have given here. Difference between FDI and FPI. By this, the entire chapter 9 revision comes to an end. So any doubts, let me know before moving into the MCQs. We'll take up the MCQs of all the 5 papers, past 5 papers, and then we will also quickly say what all are the important area, what are all the strategies that you should follow, all those, and then we will wind up. Another maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, or consider half an hour maximum. We'll be winding it up. So any doubts, let me know before going to the MCQ part. Okay, we'll move on to the MCQs. Chapter 9. Suppose the exchange rate between INR and Euro, it was €1.80, it has become 85. Indian currency is losing value. That means Indian currency is depreciating against Euro. What does the principle of absolute advantage refers to? Adam Smith point of view, the ability to produce greater quantity of goods using the same amount of resources. That means same amount of labor comparing to the other nation. Option B here. Next, North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, is between how many countries? 3 countries, United States, Canada and Mexico. Preferential tariff. Next, TRIPS, trade related intellectual property rights. Next, this is called cross-read. This information is actually given in the summary, not in the main material. See, what is it? Now, let's take up a realistic example. Now, Indian currency and Laotian Kimp, Laos, KIP, KIP, KIP. KIP is the currency of the Laos. We don't have a straight away direct rate. So what we do, now we will convert Indian currency to dollar. US dollar value is there and we will take US dollar values to KIP. So from this, US dollar will act as a vehicle currency and we are deriving the value of India to the Laotian KIP. See, in mathematics you would have seen this now. A is equals to B, B is equals to C. That means A is also equal to C. That is called cross rate. That's it, nothing big. Next. What is the main advantages of, or what is the main difference between FDI and FPI? FDI is a physical asset investment and FPI is a financial asset investment. Foreign corporation invest in India to benefit from the country's particular investment privilege such as tax bracket and comprehensively lower salary in India to be paid. This is called FDI. Next, the tariff which WTO members are agreeing between themselves, bounded tariff. Which of the following is covered under the TBT, technical barriers to trade? Under technical, SPS and TBT, non-technical 13, embargo, all these are there now. SPS and TBT, technical barriers to trade applies to both food products as well as non-food products. Standard and specification, design, shape, labeling, all of this comes under TBT. SPS is human life, animal life, plant life, biodiversity. That's it. This was September 24. Next. January 25 term paper. Here, chapter 9. Which among the, okay. In which of this following sector FDI is not permitted? Telecom permitted, aviation permitted, defense permitted, but atomic energy not permitted. Railway and atomic energy, especially reserved to our own nation's government. That's it. Here. Chapter 9. Which of the following country is not a member of G20? Tunisia, Argentina is member, India is member, Mexico is member. Next, which act was initially aimed for regulating large firms? I spoke about this in chapter 4 also. MRTP, Monopoly and Restrictive Trade Practices Act. It comes in chapter 10 also, information. Now, this is actually chapter 10. Okay, theory of comparative advantage was given by David Ricardo. Total ban, embargo. Okay, investments which are reciprocal. You come to my country and invest, I will come to your country and invest. Two-way direct investment. Factor endowment theory. Another name is HO theory. Next, with regards to international trade, European Union comes under customs union. Which of the following is a measures where animal life, human life, plant life, SPS, sanitary and sanitary measures? The system where the nominal rate of tariff on importing of manufactured goods is higher, raw material, intermediate goods is lower. Escalated tariff. On tariff rate that expresses either on the basis of value of measurement of goods or, see this word, or on the basis of unit of measurement, any one, whichever brings higher revenue to the government, that is called mixed. If at all, instead of or, if there was a word and, compounded tariff. Next, which tariff is calculated on the basis of specific contents, different spare part, different tax, specific contents, technical tariff. That's it. So these are the questions. So Jan 25 is done. Sir, is there any particular chapter or topic that we should definitely never skip? Yeah, chapter 2, definitely never skip price elasticity. Chapter 6, GDP concept, never skip. Two sector model and investment multiplier, never skip. M1, M2, M3, M4 calculation, you can never skip. And money multiplier concept, never skip. Credit multiplier, never skip. These are most repeated questions. Like, that is what I'm saying. When you are seeing the question paper, you can easily identify 60 marks. You can easily say where it will come. Identifying 50 to 60 marks is never a difficult task. The trade policy reform includes policy reforms, that is removal of licensing under the import. That means slowly we are reducing all these rules, regulations, restrictions. See, when there is an appreciation of the currency or stronger currency makes a domestic currency more and more valuable. So we can buy more and more large amount of foreign currency. So $1 was 95. Assume tomorrow $1 will become 75. That means now if I have 10,000 rupees with me, now instead of getting, let's say some odd, I'm just saying an odd figure, $1,000. Now I can buy some $1,200 now, same for 10,000 rupees or 1 lakh rupees, whatever it is. So whenever domestic currency gets appreciated, our currency becomes more valuable. So I can buy more foreign currencies now, larger amount of foreign currencies. Trade policy reforms we did. Okay, chapter 10. Above we should go. Here. An investment in which one investor establishes a business activity in the foreign country which is totally different from their main business. But in some or the other way, it is supplementing similar business. But in some or the other way, it is supplementing, means similar business strategy. That is vertical. Match the following. Long-term interest. This is FDI. Speculation. FPI. Helps in developing countries. WTO. Government and central banks do not prescribe the markets to be a foreign exchange rate. That is floating exchange rate. They will not decide. Market forces will decide. Okay, the most controversial topic of Doha Developmental Agenda, agricultural trade, even today, same was the another controversy in GATT. The tariff which is set higher, that no imports can be entered, prohibitory tariff. Ad valorem tariff, meaning, see, the duty levied on a fixed percentage on the value of the trading commodity. Which one of this is the main reason why GATT lost its relevance? International investments did not expand. It expanded. Efforts to liberalize agricultural trade was successful. No, it was not successful. GATT was just a treaty. Yes, it was just a treaty. Secretariat, it is not a treaty. Next, there was an inadequate and institutional structure in dispute resolution system. Yes, this was the another reason. Clear? Inadequate institutional structure and dispute settlement system was not there in GATT. So it lost its relevance after 1980s. That's it. Chapter 9. One more here. The theory of comparative cost, that is comparative advantage, David Ricardo. Which of the following statements are true? It is based on money cost. No, it is based on opportunity cost, not on money cost. It is positive in nature. No, it will give solutions, not just define problem. It is normative. Yes, it does not take into account of factor price differences. Yes, it didn't take any differences of factor price. So 3 and 4 were correct. September 25 paper. Chapter 9. ABC Limited, a company based in country A, imports machineries from country B. Recently, country B introduced the measures that relates to all importers to pay 25% of the total value 3 months in advance. Same to same example we spoke about. 3 months in advance they should pay financial measures. Next, the monetary tool. Okay, monetary tool, chapter 8 it is. Which of the following contents of the group of countries that have a free trade among themselves and common external tariff? The very first one, trading block. Now, country X has been increase in real effective exchange rate. REER, real effective exchange rate increase means appreciation of their country's currency. When the appreciation happens, automatically exports will decrease, imports will increase. See, export of the country X will become less competitive, so exports will decrease. Brownfield investment. See, 100% airport development project. Airport project in India under FDI is called as brownfield, not greenfield. Next, who proposed that countries should export goods in which they have a greater absolute advantage? See, greater advantage, lesser advantage you forego, greater advantage you produce. Comparative it is. David Ricardo. Anti-dumping duty is a protectionist tariff which the domestic government imposes on importing. The belief that the price level should be below their fair market value. When they try to sell lesser than our domestic country's market value, they will try to impose these taxes and to make it equal to our fair market value. No, we know that they will try to sell lesser than their production cost, but from the country which is importing, who is levying this import duty, now from their perspective they were asking. Even initially I said production cost, but actually when you read the question properly, we'll understand this is from the country who is importing. See, imposes on imports. That is to make it fair market value with their domestic players. Technical barriers of trade, TBT. Which of the following is not an example of technical barriers? Eco-labeling, quality standard, organic certificate is yes, TBT. All this, shape, size, design, standard and technical, import quota, quantity restriction was not there. Okay, a US-based cell phone service provider expand its operations in India by offering a same telecommunication service, a same business, horizontal direct investment. See, the government of India has imposed a tariff on steel products as under 5% ad valorem tariff or, see that word, what is it? Or is there. Mixed tariff. If the and was there, compounded tariff. Which of the following is not the advantages of fixed exchange rate regime? An increase in the speculation on the exchange rate movement. Hello boss, there is no speculation at all. Government has fixed once na. Until government changes, it will not at all change. Enhances international trade and investment. Yes, fixed exchange rate will enhance because it will be having stability. Avoids currency fluctuation. Yes. Eliminates exchange rate risk. Yes. Enhances the credibility of a country's monetary policy. Yes, but this is not true. This is false. That's it. So January 26 attempt paper. We'll go from the first. Purchasing of foreign countries currency contract at future rate, not now, future rate from the bank is the transaction of forward market, forward exchange market, forward it is. Chapter 9, yeah. When foreign investors had no previous experience initiated in the FDI in the business, which is not related to their existing business, that means totally different business than its home country, and it is usually in the form of joint venture, the foreign firms operating in the industry, different business, conglomerate. What is the primary purpose of countervailing duty charged on importing country? Countervailing duty is giving subsidy part. Countervailing duty, subsidy was not there, means anti-dumping duty. See, to neutralize artificially lowering the price by the exporting resulting from the export subsidies in their home country. They are providing subsidies. Which of the following currency is called vehicle currency? US dollar. Which of the following is not an objective of WTO? To set and enhance rules related to international trade. Yes, that is one of the objective. Resolving dispute between the country. Yes. Providing, acting as a forum for negotiating. Yes. But maintaining secrecy in decision making. No, transparency in decision making, not secrecy. This is not the objective. Now, state policy aimed to protect the domestic producers against the foreign competition through the use of either tariff, quota or non-tariff measure is called protectionism. We try to protect our domestic players from the foreign competition. So as a state policy, see, state policy, country's policy is to protect the domestic players. That is called protectionism. That is there in the initial theory part. Okay, which of the following is the combination of both quantity as well as tariff? Both tariff, rate, quota. We have quantity restriction as well as tax restriction. Which of the following is not a benefit of an international trade? Provides greater stimulus to innovative services. Yes, because of international trade, more innovations will happen. Trade provides access to new market and new materials. Yes, underprivileged country will be less vulnerable now. They will be more exploited, more. They will be always forced to just export raw material, not a finished good. If you remember, one of the tariff, escalated tariff also we spoke about the same. Option C. Which of these measures related to technical measures within the non-tariff measures? Within the non-tariff, if you remember, non-tariff has two things, technical and non-technical. Under that, they are asking which is following represents technical, SPS and TBT. Only two things was there, na? Custom formalities, no. Shipping requirements, no. Product procedure, standard and product procedures, shape, size, labeling, design, yes. Trade related, financial and investment, no. This one. This is called TBT. Technical barriers to trade, standard and the product related measures, product process measures. Already we spoke about this. What does the brownfield investment in foreign direct investment implies? That means already there is an existing infrastructure, either through merger, acquisition or leasing. We will take it and we will continue. Which sector accounts to the largest recipient of FDI in India? Service sector. And also 53% contribution to GDP of the country. Most easiest questions, man. Seriously, from past 2-3 attempts, the economics paper is like damn easy. Okay, last recent one, the most recent attempt paper, that is May 2026 attempt paper. Yep, already we did this in the class now. The Gulf Cooperation Council is an example of Euro Customs Union. Another example, European Union, Union word. See, which of the following is not associated with the exchange rate? Depreciation. They are speaking about depreciation. That means $1 becoming 95 to 100. This is called depreciation. Lowers the relative price of the imports. No, not associated, they are asking. Next. Which type of non-technical measures other than technical, SPS, TBT is a technical, embargo, all these non-technical measures adapted in international trade in order to non-discriminatory and temporarily limit imports for protecting the domestic industry. Last one, safeguarding measures. All of a sudden there is a surge of your foreign goods inside our country. Temporarily we will ban. Next, which form of tariff is the duty to bring the price of an imported goods up to the level of a domestic price? For in Dubai example, you are getting the goods inside country, that one variable tariff. Which of the following is not associated about the absolute advantage theory of international trade? It is between two countries. Yes, labor being mobile within the country but immobile inside the country mobile, outside the country immobile. Yes, two countries have two commodity framework. Yes, rice, wheat to India, USA. But existence of transportation cost, no transportation cost, nothing we spoke there. So this is not an assumption. Okay, which form of tariff is determined based on the specific content requirement? Different spare part, different tax. Technical tariff. Next, which of the following measures are usually aimed at restricting on quantity of goods that can be imported, irrespective whether they originate from the different source, from one particular country or not? It is called non-automatic licensing and prohibition. That's it, I guess. So these were the questions of the chapter. One more is there here. The assumption that there were two media for storing of value, money and the interest bearing. Chapter 8 it is. Inventory theory approach. Okay. Which of the following feature is not a component of modern theory of trade? That is called as HO theory, which is not. International trade is only a distinct case of interregional. Yes, it is an extension of interregional. It considers factor price differences and principles cause of commodities price differences, factor pricing differences between two countries, that is capital and labor. It considers the relative prices of factors which impacts the comparative cost of the goods and production cost between the two countries because of this cost of labor and capital. Yes, it is based on labor theory. No, labor and capital both, not only just labor and capital HO. So this is not based on the HO theory. Yep, by this we have successfully completed even the chapter 9. Clear? So a quick summary of what all is most important, what all you should cover and go, what all you should not skip. So write it down. That should be better rather than just saying by words. We'll go from the chapter 1 itself. See, in the chapter 1, positive signs, normative signs, that one. Positive and normative, business economics definition and that meaning, difference between general economics and business economics. Business economics concept is important in unit 1. These are important in unit 1. Next, unit 2, basic problems. Basic problems of economy and the types of economy, capitalistic, socialistic, mixed economy. This is what is most important in chapter 1. Next comes chapter 2. In that, demand, most important, price elasticity. Price elasticity and exceptions to law of demand. Giffen's goods, all this, exception to law of demand, cross elasticity, numerical. Cross elasticity, numerical. This you can't ignore at all. For sure, you guys have to cover this. And in supply also, it applies the same. Ditto, copy paste there. Supply also, demand and supply. Better you write down like that. And especially numerical calculations. P by Q into change in quantity by change in price. This is formula method. Arc method is change in quantity by change in price into Q1 plus Q2 divided by P1 plus P2 and equation formula. Q is equals to A minus B of P. In this, the B value. This B value is nothing but change in quantity by change in price. 3 different types of numerical value. That is for sure going to come. Any one of that will be there. And consumer behavior, just to 2 questions. Out of that, any of the theory, you will get 2 questions. Usually they will ask main question only, like equilibrium concepts or indifference curve. Most of the time the questions have come from indifference curve. So their indifference curve is important. Consumer behavior, indifference curve, and all equilibrium condition, formulas and equilibrium condition. Straight away the question comes from there. So this is with respect to chapter 2, which is most important. Next, when we speak about chapter 3, in theory of production, law of variable proportion, LVP, and law of returns to scale. Entire production function is only important there. Law of variable proportion, law of returns to scale, economies of scale, diseconomies of scale, iso quant and iso cost. And next comes main, our characteristic features of factors of production, land, perfectly inelastic, immobile, capital meaning, further production, all that characteristic features. Characteristic features of factors of production. That is important. When it comes to chapter 3, theory of cost, average cost concept, fully important. Accounting cost and economic cost, numerical calculations there. Here average cost also, AFC, AVC, numerical. This is utmost important. Without even studying this, don't even get inside the exam in that average cost concept. Rest remaining everything is small. And here shutdown point. Repeatedly questions will come from the shutdown point. That is most important, shutdown point. Clear? And next, chapter 4. In that, scoring is very much easy. Perfect competition, all 4 types of market, characteristic features, logic, perfect, monopoly, and most repeated questions will types of oligopoly and buffer stock concept, monopolistic competition, buffer stock concept. And chapter 4, unit 2, graph. 2 questions for sure it will come there. Unit 2. And especially that uncertain condition, that whatever remains constant, that either price or quantity, that uncertain related area, those questions will come. Chapter 5 though most easiest, just 5 topics, 5 questions will come. Every heading, 1 questions will come in chapter 5. Here the easily scoring is chapter 5 and chapter 1. Bachchu, 10 marks, year 5. 10 marks straight away free it is. So this is related to micro. And macro, specifically when we speak about chapter 6, GDP calculations, especially inflation rate, real GDP and nominal GDP, this calculation is most important. Without doing this, don't even enter into exam. This is in unit 1. In unit 2, 2 sector model and investment multiplier. These 2 numericals are most important even from theory. This is where most question comes. And in national income calculation, income method, value added method, expenditure method, that too small, easy, silly questions will come from that. This is the main area of chapter 6. Chapter 7, main, first budget, deficit calculations. 4 types of deficit, budgetary deficit, fiscal deficit, primary deficit, revenue deficit. This deficit calculation is where numericals will come the most. And rest remaining conceptual meanings until that first half. This is like repeated deficit calculation questions, numericals. And unit 1, unit 2, unit 4, full concept base. Especially unit 2 is most important in chapter 7. Unit 2, market failure and government intervention to market failure. Market failure and government intervention. Most important here. Market failure and government intervention to correct market failures. Chapter 8, full numericals of unit 2. Unit 2 numericals. M1, M2, M3, M4 and money multiplier and money supply and credit multiplier. This numericals will come. Easy, that too. And also public definition, that calculation of public money calculation. And in unit 3, especially RBI concepts, quantitative, qualitative, that is the important one. In unit 1, if I have to speak Keynesian theory, especially in unit 1, Keynesian, speculative money and post-Keynesian and post-Keynes. This is where most of the question comes from chapter 8. And chapter 9 already I spoke today. 1, 3, 5 are little more, 2, 1, 4, 5, except 3. 3, slightly one question will come. In that major coverages 2 and 4, 2, 4 and 5. Chapter 9 is 2, 4 and 5 is the major coverage. You can't skip that at all at any cost. And chapter 10, definitely 9 to 10 marks will come. You can't ignore. Already I gave an entire brief like what all are the important areas in the chapter 10 where you have to study 1991 and later. That is where most of the questions will come. Before 1991, you can just go through like a newspaper. Rest remaining things. See, in chapter 10, even if you have read once, like once or twice, if you have read seriously, out of 10, scoring 5 to 7 is not a difficult task there. Automatically you will score. And see, the biggest drawback of any student in terms of like strategy, see, while preparing, now you are almost at the fag end moment. Suppose if anyone is watching this for next upcoming Jan 2027 and all, never underestimate and just hold one single subject for one whole day. You should always touch multiple subjects in one single day. Like for example, economics and accounts, law and maths, like this, one theory, one practical, one theory, one practical, one theory, one practical. This is how you need to sit and study, solve more and more, especially law. I know that I'm teaching economics, but still law. Why students will fail in law? You will sit, read. Reading alone will not serve a purpose. You have to write and practice answers. You have to know how to present answers in law. That is where most of them will fail. They will sit and read 100 times, but they don't even practice a single time. In law, you should learn the writing practice. Without learning a writing practice, you can't crack exam. Even if one subject goes for toss, all 4 papers you should write once again, including economics you should write. No exemption concept and all. In economics also, reading alone will not serve a purpose. After reading, after understanding concept, you should solve more and more MCQ. See, MCQ solving, this is the main order. PYPs. First and foremost, cover it off. RTPs. MTPs. And model question paper. And I'm saying this should be after completing ICI material and your respective study material, whichever academy you belong to, whichever faculty notes you have a study material, they would have given you here no less than their own study material. There will be somewhere around 2000 to 5000 questions will be there. In that, consider 50% you have solved. At least 50%. At least if not this you haven't solved, at least this though definitely you should solve. After solving this, once you have a concept clarity, these things you should cover. This is the order. First PYP, RTP, MTP. This is required, mandatory. After that, you still want to solve much more questions. Model question papers are there. And sir, should I take the mock exams of the ICI? Definitely yes. That is recommended. The more new questions you solve, you will have a better grip on the particular syllabus. And you should always stay connected with the syllabus. Be it any subject, man, not just economics alone. I'm saying be it accounts, be it law, be it mathematics, be it economics. The more you stay in touch with the syllabus, in a day, multiple subjects you hold, automatically you will remember, you will realize, you will write, you will practice, you will be getting in touch with multiple papers and you will feel more comfortable. Just holding one entire week economics, next one entire week only law, that is disaster. Don't do that. In a day, multiple papers has to be handled. In a day, multiple subjects you have to prepare. At least one question before going for a sleep every day. You have to write answers of law and get it corrected. If you are not confident, at least send it to your faculty. Ask them to correct your paper and let them give inputs like where you should improve, whether underlining of keywords or using of English language. Sometimes students now they will make it too simplified. Like rain is coming, water is going and all. Man, understand, you are in a professional course. They expect you to write in a professional manner. That needs practice. All of a sudden, you can't do magic on the day of exam. Even in economics also, all of a sudden you can't do magic. And I usually say this. See, out of 100, if you know 75 question, attend that 75 and come. Don't do this inky pinky ponky for that remaining 25 questions and all. On the result day, if you have done inky pinky ponky for this, you will become monkey and your friend is Venky for sure. To white 100 fix. If you don't know, leave it. Don't take risk and all. Attend 75 and come out. If you know 80, attend 80 and come out. If you know 90, attend 90 and come out. I know that in your school, 11th and 12th and all, your parents and faculty, everyone have instructed, don't leave any question, attend all and come. In CA, if you do that, to fix negative marking. Especially math, stats and economics. Never do that, over attempting and all. See, I know that you would have seen many of the podcasts of my own students, 96, 97, 98, 93, 95 and all. Even they say the same thing. That is purely a luck after the 90. Whatever they studied, whatever the questions have come, one and the same. Especially GK concepts, some nook and corner from the material. Yes, till 90, definitely your efforts, your proper knowledge is there. 95 also I will agree. 90 up to 95 you have a proper knowledge. Another 5 questions GK will be there. Some nook and corner of material, some corner line, some stupid economist, some point of view you would have said, some or the other thing they will ask. There is no rule that everything you will be knowing. You are not a robot to remember everything. You are not a chitty man. You are not a robo. Some error will happen. Human tendency will happen. But you should minimize that error. You should reduce that error. That is the most important. At home, even when you are sitting and practicing, keep a timer and then solve the questions. Let's say 50 questions you are solving. You should be able to solve it within 50 minutes. And last 10 minutes for scrutiny. Like what have you attended, what have you not attended, do you know that, do you know, don't do this. If you are stuck in any question, see, practically understand, your exam is for 2 hours. So for 2 hours, 120 minutes, you have 100 questions. So divide it, take out calculator, have a look. So practically speaking, 120 minutes divided by 100. That means 1.2. That means 20% of the 1 minute. That means 12 seconds. Technically speaking, 1 minute, 12 seconds you have to solve one question to attend all 100 questions. But I'm not saying you will not attend all 100 questions. Let's assume that you will attend 85 questions. Consider 85 questions, man. 120 divided by 85. Still 1.41. Technically speaking, 40%. Consider 1.5, round figure only. 1 minute, 30 seconds. For few questions, you don't even need 1 minute, 30 seconds. Easy question will be there. Within 30 seconds, you will finish it off. Clubbing and taking average together, maximum for one single question you can spare is 2 minutes is the highest. Beyond 2 minutes, you should never sit for one single question. If you are stuck in any one single question for beyond 2 minutes, leave that question, go to the next question, solve the remaining. At last, you come back. Just assume you are stuck in some question and you are solving again and again. You are taking 10 minutes to solve that one question or 5 minutes to solve that one question. You will lose, end up you will losing. You can't attend more questions. So always and always in exam, remember 120 minutes is there. That last 20 minutes or consider 15 minutes. 15 minutes is for scrutiny. Whatever you have done, correct or wrong, cross-checking things. So you should finish technically everything in 1 hour 45 minutes. And last 15 minutes or consider 20 minutes only for recalculation of things, whatever you have left, whichever you are stuck, that comes over there. So keep this in mind. 75 to 85 is the decent of attending. 60 to bare minimal of attending. Scoring 60 is never a difficult task in economics at all. That is a really easy task. If you have attended your respective faculties, it doesn't matter, not only just mine, with any academy you are, any faculty it is. If you have attended the class, if you know the concepts, at least you have solved some basic MCQs. 60 scoring is never a difficult task in economics. See, up to 60 though, it is easy. After going back home, your efforts. This will take you from 60 to 80 easily. 80 above, you should have little in-depth knowledge of a subject. That means interconnection between the chapter, in-depth. This goes up to 90. 90 to 95 is where you have a full knowledge, GK also, some nook and corner of the material. Nook and corner. And another 5 questions, I'm only saying some GK related questions will come. Chapter 10, I can't assure you will get 10 on 10. Na? Some 1 or 2 marks may go for bouncer. So 95 till, yes, possibilities are there. 95 and above, definitely 1% of luck will work there. Till 95, I will never speak about luck. Only 95 and above, I will speak about that 1% of your luck also matters there. Whatever GK questions you have studied, same questions are appearing there. You could able to crack it. So some 5 questions will be always from nook and corner, GK, some or the other thing, bouncer will be there. So 95 is definitely in your control. That is why I usually say read ICA material once like a newspaper, including summary. Sometimes the question will come from that summary area, not from the main material. They have done it before. ICA doing ICA things. ICA is expert doing in all these things. You can't believe ICA. It will happen like that. Clear? Sir, from which chapter we should start while doing preparation? It doesn't matter, man. Whichever you feel comfortable. Go with micro. If you are more comfortable with micro, go with micro. Do with demand and supply first. Then go to cost and production. Then go to chapter 4. Then come to 1 and 5. See, always, I usually say this. Make this ABC analysis. Hope you will be knowing already ABC analysis. A means you are confident of. You know this. 90% you know already the topic comes under 9. A category. Sir, this 50% I know, another 50% I should study. This, sir, just 10% I have a knowledge, 90% I should study. When you do this, I recommend first complete this A and B. Usually A and B put together, you will cover 70% of your syllabus. You will be already knowing 70%. Rest remaining 30% in that, even if you cover 15%, another 15 you leave, no worries. First cover this A and B category. A category means you have 90% knowledge in the topic, just 10% small revision needed. B category 50% you know, another 50% you should study. Always touch this first A, complete this A. Once you are done with this A category, almost you will be, let me say some 30-40% of syllabus will be in A. Another 30-40% or 20% syllabus so definitely will be in B. So 50 to 70% category gets completed in A and B zone. C zone takes more time. Once you are done with 50 to 70% of your syllabus, this will not feel more burden. Straight away if you hold this will also get confused. That is what I say. There is no rule that 100% you will cover everything. No, don't be in that assumption. Don't be in that dilemma. Even if you are covering 70 to 90 percentage, well and good. In economics, even if you are covering 70 percentage of syllabus, still you can score 50 marks. 60 marks you can actually score. 50 to 60, so definitely you can score still. First, you should have that confidence. That is what I'm saying. You have done, your preparation was there 3 to 6 months, man. And don't do magics at last moment. New topic holding, one day before exam, 1 week before exam, I will sit and study new concept, new topic. That will add more stress. And I usually say, don't even take economics book to your exam center. You will be more tensioned. You will be more stressed by reading standing at some corner there. Sir, I'm used to it, sir. At last moment, whatever I see, even that questions have come, sir. Yes, I know, I understand. But you should keep your mind free. Especially now, 1 week before the exam, the better you sleep, you will perform better. The more calm and composed you are, you will perform better. The more tensed you are, whatever you know, you will get confused. So 1 week before the exam, your sleep, food, your health, routine, habits should be proper. Don't take stress, don't take new experiments on 1 week, especially 1 day before exam. Whatever you have revised, whatever you have marked important, that things you should revise it once. Numericals, you should solve it 1 day before. Whatever chapters, numericals will come. Approximately in entire economics paper, if you see, 15 to 20 marks numericals will be there for sure. And that too easy marks it is. Cover that. Main topics. Now I said main topics. Now whatever I just wrote here, this one. These are the main topics. You see any paper, these questions are there. This covers 50 to 60 marks will be covered here only. See, that is the reason I don't do any kind of separate YouTube prediction videos and all. In class only I will say, boss, this is where it definitely comes. This is where it comes. Read it. Separately, I need not to do a prediction video on that. Anyhow, in the part of syllabus only, we would have done it. So this is main. Sir, I have got low marks in mock test. Will I get low marks in exam? No, man. This is what I'm saying. Mock exam, you are still practicing, you are learning. That's fine. You will make mistakes, but don't over attempt. That is what I can say. Sir, except market, number 1, failure. Except market failure, everything has been completed now. Pace for 5-day strategy. Yes. Market failure and government intervention, you can go it. No problem. Sir, I have got low marks in mock test. Will I get? No, man. I answered, Team Guru. See, that is what. First, remove that from your mind. In economics, definitely, if you observe, I can bet this. RTP, MTP mock papers will be slightly difficult. Main exam paper will not be that difficult. It will be always easy. Sometimes, if your ICA wants to play with you, then they may make it tricky, not difficult. They may make it tricky. They will play with options, not with question. They will play with options. There, I recommend you, if you're not even having a confidence, let's say if you're not 100% confident, 99%, 1% doubt, leave it. Don't take unnecessary risk. Even if you're attending 70 to 80, 85 questions also, that's fine. There is no rule that 100 on 100 you should attend. Always keep this in mind. I went to Singapore, I came back. Now I'm going for other work, my office work. During your exam time, I will not be in India. I mean, that's the reason. Because of my other office plans and all, I was in Singapore. My classes were scheduled in Coimbatore, so I'm taking marathon from Coimbatore. If not, I should have taken it in Bangalore. ICU batch I should take. This time ICU batch also I could not able to take. Human in nature, multiple places cannot be present at a time. I will try to come live 1 day before exam. I will try my maximum. I will not be in India. But still, I will give my level best. If possible, I will try to come live. But that is what I'm saying. 1 day before, the more you are calm, the more you are composed, you will do better. Any exam, not just economics, be it every paper. 1 week before the start of your exam, no new experiments and all. Stay calm. What you have done, revise it. Prepare your own short material, short notes. Sir, importance. Already I've given chapter 7, 8 and 9 important. Everything I spoke here. Market research, now you leave it, first you complete. Sir, PYPU's PDF, I have shared it to the team. They will put, I think they are merging all the YouTube videos and making it as one proper marathon video. In that link, they will post it. No worries. PYPs. Past 5 attempts PYP, I have asked them to share. Chalo, any other doubts before winding it up? Clear? So all the best. Make sure that You clear your exams, we'll meet you in CA Inter, Strategic Management. There also, devil comes at last. Last paper, last subject, Strategic Management. 50 marks I will be handling there. We'll meet you guys in CA Inter. Until then, bye-bye. All the best for your exams. Let me know after your exams. How did your exams go? Good, bad, pathetic, worst, whatever it is, don't worry. Share it. Clear? Bye-bye. Okay, once explain money multiplier. Simple concept, man. Money multiplier. Money multiplier is small m. MS by MB. Money supply by monetary base. How much ever money getting supplied in the economy. Let's assume 1000 crore. But printed 200 crore and circulated by RBI. That means money is circulating by 5 times. Same to same. By using this formula. MS formula is there. Multiples of monetary base. That means money will multiply 5 times. RBI is printing and supplying 100 crore or let me say 200 crore. 200 crore multiplying by 5 times. Total money supply will become 1000 crores. Tanma, money multiplier. Bye bye. Yes. Sir, 1 to chapter 7 is enough to score 60 plus. I don't ask you to do that. Take a risk. No, Sharath, don't do like that. At least cover this. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. You cover this. This I can guarantee 60 at least. Not 1 to 7, just 1 to 7. 60 plus I can't guarantee, but definitely 45 plus though I can guarantee there. 1 to 7 alone. Done. Chalo. Bye bye. We'll meet you guys in CA Inter class.